Hi guys, Will Terry here. Had a great week this week at Comic-Con in Salt Lake City, and I got to see a lot of friends and meet a lot of new artists and see a lot of great art out there. You might notice that I'm rocking a new background. I thought the cool colors would kind of accentuate my face a little bit better. Anyway, so in this video I wanted to answer the question, are you frustrated with your art? And at the end I'm going to talk about a new class that we're offering at SBS. So there are three things that you need to make great art. Okay, you need passion, you need hard work, and you need good instruction. I get a lot of emails, a lot of Facebook messages. It's amazing how my YouTube channel is kind of blown up, and I'm getting a lot of really good connections with people. And one of the questions that I get asked all the time is, what can I do to make my art better? What do I do to take it to the next level? So that's what I kind of want to go with that on this video, and I've got a lot of things that I want to talk about. So if you think about it, and I want to make a case for how art or visual arts are treated a little bit differently. If you think about different disciplines like master chess players, right? Do they get to be master chess players simply by playing chess? And the answer is no. They usually join a chess club where they have a teacher. They usually will play with people who can teach them things and that are higher up than them. Sometimes they travel and they do tournaments and there's instruction there. Anyway, what about basketball players? Basketball players, do they just send them out onto the basketball team and tell them to kind of figure it out, or do they have coaches? They have coaches. Okay, programmers. How do people get to be master programmers? And there's a lot of actual art in programming. There's a lot of creativity in programming. No, they go to school and they learn that, obviously. What about writers? Do they just start writing and do it on their own? Culinary chefs, musicians, even top tennis players have coaches. The very top, the best in the world, will have a coach that is looking at their game and telling them things that they need to do differently. And I find it really interesting that you and I probably grew up drawing and doing our own thing without a coach, without anybody really giving us any nuts and bolts, hard facts, hard rules on art. You and I were probably given crayons and paper and pencil and told to go and create, to just go and do something. I remember, and I'm speaking in generalities. I know that there's always going to be exceptions. There's going to be people who had great instructors in junior high and high school and college. But what I find is when people send me their work, sometimes people will send me a link and say, will you look at my work? And most of the time I can't. But I'll see sometimes they'll just send, they'll send a link or they'll send a piece of art in an email. And when I look at it, I can tell that they probably didn't have any, if at all, instruction that was by someone who really knew what they were doing. And so, yeah, we were in elementary school, we were in junior high, we were in high school, even college, and often never had any hard, fast rules. In fact, what I heard when I was in college was, go figure it out. If I tell you the answer, if I tell you how to do the assignment, then you won't learn anything, which is baloney. I know of teachers, personally know teachers who have told their students to paint their feelings, to try to do what feels natural, do what comes natural. What should we do? Well, just experiment. Those things are good. It's good to try different things. It's good to experiment. It's good to sometimes not be given all the instructions. But when you're not given anything at all, where does that leave you? And can you imagine the other disciplines that I mentioned being told, just go figure it out, just go experiment? I get emails. I've probably had in the last 10 years at least 24 people tell me they've learned more from my videos than they did in 4 years of college. So they paid for college for 4 years of art school, and they learned more from watching some of my videos at Folio Academy and svslearn.com than they did in college. And that's a shame. Now, the tendency for myself would be to pat myself on the back, but I'm not going to do that, because all I'm doing is teaching some of the things that I learned and some of the things that I figured out, some of the things that I've talked to other artists about and asked them questions about, and how they're working. And I had some good teachers in college, and I'm just doing what I've offered to do, which is to teach people. But I find it interesting that there are a lot of teachers who either they don't know, or they're afraid of creating clones of themselves. They're afraid of competition from their students. They've never learned themselves, or they've never accomplished in their own art form to where they can make those discoveries, and so that they can teach. I really believe that in order to be a good teacher, you have to be able to do it yourself. I can't imagine a good chess teacher, not being a good chess player. I can't imagine, somebody teaching writing not being a good writer. So if your teacher in school is not a good artist, chances are they're not going to be able to teach you a whole lot. Okay, so let me see where I am on here. Another thing, I'm going to say this too. Another reason that art teachers at the college level, quite frankly, aren't teaching art is because they're lazy and they're getting a paycheck whether they teach or not. And if you disagree with me, I would love to hear about it. Put it in the comments. In fact, I would love to debate any teacher out there who thinks that they shouldn't be teaching fundamentals in design. There are rules. There are rules that all of us can learn and implement into our art. And I'm going to get a fire engine now. It's interesting. Haven't heard the fire engine all day, but you guys get to hear it now. I hope he doesn't stop here. And I hope wherever he stops, they're all right. Okay, had to get that in there. So a couple other things before I end this is some artists, I think, especially in the children's book world, might be tempted to think that you don't need to learn good design, that you don't need to learn rules, because they look at artists who are doing work that's more primitive, and by primitive I mean less polished, and maybe you might describe it as it looks like a child could do it, or it looks like anybody could do it, when really anybody couldn't do it, and it's a lot more complex than you would think on first glance. And what happens is, I think they look at that primitive art and they think, well, they didn't learn design, so I don't need to learn design. I'm going to give you 5 names of children's book illustrators that I want you to look up. If you want to get into the children's book world, if you want to be successful in children's publishing, I really think you should know who these 5 illustrators are. And I could list 20, 50, 100. These are ones that are selling really, really well right now, that seem to be really hot right now. In fact, I just thought of a 6th one that I want to put on my list. So I'm going to mention him first, Oliver Jeffers. I really love his work. I'm going to give you 5 more. John Clausen, it's spelled with a K, and I think I'll actually edit this video for once and put these in here, so you might be actually looking at it right now. So John Clausen, he just won the Caldecott for This Is Not My Hat. Dan Santat, Peter Brown, Renata Luska, I think that's how you say her name, and I apologize if I got it wrong, and Mo Willems. Okay, so these 6 artists, and probably less Dan Santat, but all 6 of them do work that's a little bit more primitive. I'm going to exclude Dan on that one, but all of them know how to design and are amazing designers and have learned how to draw really, really well, and have learned how to design really, really well. And it's the simplicity of their designs that is deceivingly simple and will make you think that you can do it without learning the rules. And from my experience, most people can't. John Clausen came from animation, as did Dan Santat. I'm not sure about Peter Brown or Renata or Oliver, but I know Mo Willems came from, or I'm pretty sure he came from the TV show, the TV channel and it's slipping my mind. It's the Children's Network, Nickelodeon, yeah, and that he was a writer there. If you look at his book, Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus, super primitive, and you would be tempted to think that anybody could do it. And I can promise you that it's well designed. It communicates extremely effectively. And in order to do that kind of work, there's a reason why he won a Caldecott honor for Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. Anyway, my message to you, if you don't hear anything else from this video, is that a lot of people will look at this work, feel like they can do it on their own without learning the rules, and it's almost impossible. I am putting together a class right now through SVS called Creative Composition. It starts May 13th, 2014, so it's next month. And I think it's the most important class that we have on our site. Now that might be overreaching a little bit, but most people, what happened to us when we were in school is we were given crayons, we were given pencils, and we started drawing. Design and drawing are two very different things, and both are extremely necessary to create a good image. You cannot have one or the other and be successful. You have to have both. And most teachers, even at college, a lot of them in art programs do not teach good design. That's just a simple fact. And again, I would love to debate anybody, any teacher who says that art students shouldn't learn design principles. I will record it and I'll put it out here on a YouTube video, because that's just baloney. It's bogus. If you're going to be an artist and if you're going to communicate effectively visually, you need to have good design skills. Creative Composition is going to be a design class, and it's going to be especially for children's book illustrators or anybody that wants to do illustration for communication. It's going to help you learn to organize and to lay out your images, and you need to do that before you start drawing. And there are a lot of other principles that happen that need to be planned out so that when you start painting, you don't have to make corrections, you don't have to make changes. I can promise you this, that every person that comes through one of our classes, whether it's a painting class or drawing class, when we get into the critiques, when we get into the live critique sessions, almost every comment that Jake Parker and I are making are design issues, design-related issues, problems with the design. Okay, so whether you're really good at drawing, I constantly tell my students, you're drawing, you're not designing. And the reason that you have problems with your drawing and inevitably your painting is because you didn't design it first. So drawing, you have to know, and some of the people that have the hardest time with design are actually the people that draw the best, because they think that good drawing will get them out of the need to make a good design. And I can tell you it doesn't. And some people will say, well, Will, how do you make good images? Like, I want to get good. I want to be able to make the kind of art that you make. What do I need to do? And I'll tell them, you need to take a design class. You need to get into a class like this. And a lot of them won't do it. They don't understand the importance of it. Again, why does a professional tennis player that's at the top of the circuit need a coach? Because we're never done learning. And there are things that other people can see in our work that we can't see in it ourselves. This class, by the way, if you're getting to this video after the class has started in May, this could be 2015 now, and you're watching this video, at svslearn.com we sell the live class, but we record it, we videotape it, and we sell the video recordings for half price. So if you want to just take the video recordings, sometimes people live in a part of the world where they can't attend, or they work during our live class and they just can't attend it. The recordings are always there. Again, you can get that at svslearn.com. It is the most important class you can take because it's the things that were never taught to us. I'm going to go back and just mention one last thing. Writers are if you take artists and you take writers, okay, and you take them and you say, and when they enter college, the writers are about 12 years ahead of the illustrators. And when I tell my classes this at UVU, I always get, heads will look up from pencils and like, what are you talking about? The writers have had the kind of design work that I'm talking about in writing in English classes, in literature classes, because they're talking about the same types of things that we talk about in design. And they have been given the rules of grammar. They've been given the rules of story construction for essentially for 12 years. And they enter college 12 years ahead of artists who have been given pencils and paper and told to go and create something without any instruction. This is the class that you need because it's the stuff that you were never taught that you should have been taught all along. And how can you know that you need something if you were never taught it in the first place? Okay. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I will look forward to seeing you on my next one. Bye.